Hey guys, Zane here with another video. Not a one-take review, just a general announcement video here. Just changing things up a little bit, getting experimental, but it's just the way I like to do things around here. In all seriousness, though, even though these are pretty rare, I've only done, I think, maybe one of these before in the past, and I probably won't be doing many more in the future, no matter how long I end up doing this channel. This is just a quick update video about how the channel is going so far. If you know about my schedule that I have, which I have posted in the About section, albeit not totally updated to what it is today because I keep forgetting to do that. I also have it pinned on my Twitter. I have a current schedule where I ultimately end up talking about 10 new albums that come out every week, as well as 4 older albums of my choice, and I upload 2 videos a day, or at least I try my best to, and for a very long time I was actually doing that pretty well, all things considered, considering for months on end I was managing to do, 2 videos a day in that exact order. However, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, one thing that you might have noticed, starting with about this month or so, maybe a little bit towards the end of last month, I've been slightly inconsistent with my uploads, and I could make all the excuses in the world for that, but frankly, the main one that I'm aiming for is the fact that I just feel kind of burnt out with my current schedule. In retrospect, it wasn't a good idea to expect myself to be able to do 2 videos a day, especially just with everything else going on in life and things like that, listening and then writing and then recording and then also uploading all 2 videos a day. That just doesn't really seem all that realistic, and the fact that I actually did it for a good period of time is something that I'm pretty proud of overall. Now that I think about it, I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't get more burnt out quicker than I ultimately did, but this past month or so, give or take, has definitely been the official time frame where I kind of realized the mistake that I made here. When I started this channel, I kind of just figured that the new album reviews would be the videos that got the most views, and that those would be a bit more difficult to make because they were newer albums. I had less to work with to discuss in terms of a retrospective and things like that, whereas the older albums would get less views, but they would be much easier to make because I just have a lot more to talk about there, with histories of albums being able to be discussed, and, well, frankly, just the influence, importance, and a variety of other factors of a record that can't really be brought up when talking about something that just came out within the past week. Well, I was definitely right about a couple of aspects of those, like the newer album reviews getting more views than the older album videos, which I expected, to be honest, and I'm perfectly okay with that. That isn't affecting what I'm doing here whatsoever. But one thing that was kind of unexpected was the newer album videos were significantly easier to do than the older album videos. I mean, sure, the newer stuff is less stuff to work with, to talk about really beyond the music itself, but at the same time, a lot of the older albums that I personally want to talk about, I feel like I don't really have a lot to add to. At the same time, I don't really want to talk about anything too super deeply obscure or anything like that, because I know a lot of people won't be really interested in that, or at least I don't want to do it on a regular basis because I don't want people to constantly see albums from artists that have, I don't know, 100 listeners on Spotify being brought up in their feed on YouTube. I feel like that's just not something a lot of people are really going to dig and enjoy, and overall I just feel like more people are here for the new album reviews than they are the older album reviews. This led me to thinking a combination of these things, between the older albums kind of getting more difficult to talk about as I struggle to find records that I can really have something to say about that hasn't been said a million times already. I can't sit down and talk about Abbey Road like I'm the first person to ever talk about it or anything like that. And with the newer albums getting more views and me getting slightly burnt out, I kind of just came to the conclusion that I'm no longer going to be regularly talking about older albums. I know that some people will be disappointed in that, as I have gotten comments over time saying that they really like the fact that I do talk about older albums, and I apologize if there were any requests for older albums that I was meant to do that I'm no longer going to be doing because I'm not doing this on a regular basis, and I just gotta say, overall, it's gonna be nice. I'm going to be using those extra 2 days to take a break from uploading and things like that. Obviously, it's not like it's some super stressful thing to do or anything like that. It's always chill. It just takes up a good chunk of time, and sometimes I'm just putting out content and work that I'm not totally content with or happy with overall, just because I'm kind of rushing to get some stuff out, and then that kind of causes me the rush to get other stuff out, and it all just kind of feels rushed to me. But with those 2 days out of the way that I usually use to talk about older albums, I can just talk about the 10 newer albums that I want to discuss during the week, and hopefully not really miss that many days in the near future. So yeah, even though I've actually been periodically changing my upload schedule around every couple of weeks or so, just sort of experimenting with new concepts and ideas for uploading stuff, I finally just come to the conclusion that this is what I want to do and this is how I think I should go about it. Of course, if I end up being wrong and I end up changing my mind at some point, I will absolutely do another video, or I kind of do updates like this on my Twitter pretty often when I change stuff, so make sure to go follow that if you're interested in it, and that's linked in the description along with whatever other junk I have linked in the description. I don't know. But my point is that that's the purpose of this video, is to say that I will not regularly be talking about older albums anymore. Now, with that being said, regularly is the key term there, because I'm not going to completely stop. I'm just not doing it in a scheduled format anymore. I mean, it's not like I'm just no longer interested in talking about older music and giving my own reviews on it. I actually have a couple albums coming up that I want to talk about, like the White Stripes' debut album and a couple of other records here or there, but those are mainly going to be in the full-length review format, not so much in the quick review format, and overall, I'm going to try to make those a bit more impassioned, a bit more in-depth overall, a bit more of a retrospective look at a certain piece of work and how it is viewed in the modern musical culture. I just want to make them a bit more prominent in terms of my actual uploads, and because of that, I don't really think that they're going to be a weekly thing. I think that it's more likely to be, I don't know, every couple of weeks I use one of those off days to upload just a single video, or maybe I upload a third extra video on the weekend or something like that. I don't really have any plans for that in particular, but my point is I'm not going to stop totally. I'm just exclusively going to talk about stuff that I want to go out of my way to talk about because I think it'll make for a good or interesting video, and it's nice because it will also allow me to talk about that very obscure stuff before with no real consequences. I don't really feel the pressure to talk about something that I think people will be interested in anymore, as all of the newer albums kind of do that heavy lifting for me in that regard. I can kind of just discuss whatever now, and I'll definitely keep doing any series that I either A, have planned, or B, have already done in the past. I mean, I did my Rock Hall Review series earlier this year, and I will surely be doing that again next year when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees get announced once more, but until then, I'm just mainly going to be talking about newer albums, because frankly that's just what people primarily care about, and I actually kind of feel like there are some people that have been unwilling to check out the channel further solely because their feed will be getting clogged up with an album from 2003 that they don't really care about all that much. But other than that, older album reviews, when they do come out, will stay completely the same. It's not going to be like some Anthony Fantano classic review, ambiguous rating kind of thing. It's going to be full reviews, it's going to be full ratings and stuff like that. Some of them will be negative ratings, some of them will be very positive ratings, but it'll just be whatever and whenever. There's no set date for when those videos will be uploaded from this point moving forward. So yeah, that's pretty much all this video is meant to be an update for. I figured it would just be worth updating it since that was, I guess, kind of a unique-ish thing that I was doing, reviewing older albums. I mean, a lot of people do that still, but it was a bit different, so I'm taking credit for being mildly unique here. Let me just have this one, please. But yeah, I just figured that it would help me with the burnout kind of feeling that I've been suffering from for this channel within the past, again, month or so, give or take, and hopefully it will stop me from being as inconsistent with my uploads as I have in, again, like I said, the last month or so. It's just been very inconsistent upload-wise, but what I have uploaded, I have been, for the most part, pretty happy with overall. So, yeah, that's just all I really wanted to do this little announcement for, and with that being said, that's the end of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.